My name is Present, and I am a tier 2 IGL/content creator.
What's one thing new comp teams ignore?
I think that setting a rigid set of fundamentals or standards for your team is super important and something that like the best teams are consistently doing. Even if it's just things like don't be late or be on time, whatever we say, or something like don't talk bad about your teammates to other people outside the team. Just setting things like that everyone abides to kind of builds a good culture and gets you started in the right way. With all of my teams, I like to have that meeting pretty much as soon as the roster gets finalized and go over all the expectations, all the standards, all the fundamentals that we all need to be following.
And what's the biggest waste of scrim time?
I would say the biggest waste of scrim time is kind of just playing to play. Like a lot of people think that just the number of scrims that you have is the most important thing, but it really just matters of how present you are in the moment of any given round and that you're actually there to work on specific things. Like having goals for yourself and for your team is super important. And if you're just showing up for the sake of showing up and kind of just autopiloting doing the same things you do every scrim day, then you're just never going to improve.
And what makes a player coachable?
Kind of in the same vein of not just playing to play, but seeing someone who is not only willing to hear feedback, but you can actually see them trying to implement. I think there are a lot of people who say they are coachable, but they're really too rigid as like either a person or a player to actually like make the changes and kind of work on those things. So they'll get the feedback, but they'll just kind of keep autopiloting, keep kind of doing their thing instead of trying to be deliberate in practice.
And lastly, when should teams change strats mid-match?
I wouldn't say you necessarily need to change your strats, but I do think it's better to be changing like your tempo and your style. So if you're playing against a team that you know doesn't push, like kind of just a bunch of baiters, then you can run the same strat, but it's better to understand like okay, if they're not going to do anything, then we need to show some pressure, fall back, and play into the time into the layers because if you just try to play one style at all times, then you're going to run into teams that kind of counter your style. So, and if you find something that starts working, then like you should just keep doing it. There are a lot of times like people say don't rush every round or don't go slow every round. But if you're winning all of your rounds and the other team doesn't have an answer for like your fast plays or your slow plays, like you kind of your methodical clears, then you really have no reason to change until they give you a reason to. I think a lot of people try to like over adapt sometimes. It's like, oh, we just did that. We can't do it again. Even though, especially at like lower levels, teams need to prove that they can beat you when you're doing your fundamentals.